I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to TortureCast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go, Giants! SF Giants! Let's go, Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the TortureCast.
It's Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and this is episode 315 of the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and I'm feeling a little salty tonight. I'm here with Eric Nathanson, and we're just lamenting the fact that the Giants' offense seems to have forgotten how to hit, forgotten what a baseball looks like, forgotten everything about the fundamentals of hitting, and the Giants have reacted in kind. And we were just saying before the show, Eric's like, well, they're only down by 2, and I said, yeah, that's like being down by 6. I think we officially have to recognize that the Giants, when they're down by runs, you have to multiply that by a factor of 2 or 3. That's the Giants' differential factor. I think we're going right now. But anyway, yeah, we'll go ahead and bitch a little bit more as we go into the show. But how you doing, Eric?
It's sad. It's so sad. I'm doing better now, though. Daniel Johnson, 2 for 3. He just knocked the pitcher out of the game. So obviously Daniel Johnson's the savior. Buster Posey figured it out. This team is winning the World Series. So yeah, no, I'm not annoyed at all.
Now, you may be asking yourself, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't been keeping score at home, who the hell is Dan Johnson? Who is this guy?
Never heard of him.
Who is this Dominic Smith? Who is this Andrew Kisner? Who are these people? Well, I can tell you one thing. You will no longer hear the public address announcer call out LaMonte Wade Jr.'s name anymore. It's weird. It's weird, right?
They did it.
It's something that they did it. They did it. 2 podcasts ago, we said you got to get Hicks out of the rotation and put in Birdsong. The day after it happened. Last episode, you were calling for LaMonte Wade to just be jettisoned. And what do you know? It happened. They're listening to this podcast, Eric. This is proof. I mean, come on. 2 in a row? That's proof, right?
Clearly, that is 100% success rate, proof of concept, all of those things. Buster Posey clearly listens to TortureCast on his way home from the ballpark. And thank you, Buster. 100%. We appreciate everything you've done for us. 3 world titles. I hope you bring us some more. Thank you, Buster.
Man, it is weird. We're used to the revolving door under the previous regime, but Buster hasn't made a lot of moves during the season, but he definitely made a flurry of moves now. I think he recognizes...
Before tonight, they had the fewest moves in baseball. They had the fewest players on the roster in baseball, which is the opposite of how it's been. But because they had 3 guys making their debut tonight on the roster, they they fell into second. They have the second least now, fewest at this point. But I mean, that's just crazy. It's the literal opposite of the Farhan era.
So we've been calling about the offense. Everybody has all the news articles. Bob Melvin's getting asked about it every night. But, I mean, it really is a prolific stretch we're going on now, Eric. And you texted this to me last night. But over the Giants' last 16 games, and possibly 17, depending on tonight's outcome, the Giants have scored no more than 4 runs in 16 straight games. And over that stretch, they've only hit 206, only averaged 2.0 runs per game. They scored 32 over those 16. Unfortunately, they've gone 7-9, which it could be worse. And the reason it could be worse is their pitching is keeping them in the game. In fact, their ERA over that stretch is 1.77, and they've only been allowing 2.3 runs a game. I mean, it's remarkable. If this team's pitching was, quote, average in the league, I mean, they would have lost 13 of the 16 of these games easily. So, I mean, thank God for the pitching keeping them in. But it is just. It's just like when you have that wonderful meal and it's just not enough, or you get that ice cream cone and you drop it on the ground. You're like, it was perfect. Or you have that beer that you spill or knock over. You're like, oh, that was the beer I needed. It was so crisp and cold, and I was really looking forward to it. The Giants are wasting these wonderful pitching performances by their starters, and of course the back end by the bullpen. It is just, you just feel every single opportunity is being wasted. If the opposition scores 1, the Giants get shut out. If they score 2, they score 1. If they score 3, they score 2. It's been so remarkably frustrating. And then on the hitting side, it's not just the lack of hitting overall, but it's the situations like that 1-0 game earlier, the first game against San Diego, right?
Yeah.
It was Logan Webb, 7 innings, no runs. They had the bases loaded with nobody out. Out. And they didn't score. Eric, I looked it up. 88% of the time when a team has bases loaded with nobody out, they score at least 1 run. Like, it's hard to fail in that situation, statistically.
Well,
and
somebody's got to be the 12%. Yep, exactly. Yeah, right? Somebody's got to be that 12%.
But it just seems to be happening a lot more than 12% of the time to these Giants. And then you were bringing up how the run was scored in the 10th, and it was just funny how the Giants followed up on it.
By doing the same thing, trying to. I mean, because they bunted a guy over, but then they had the shot to third and then a line out to first. And then they did the same thing in the 10th inning last night. They got the runner over just like the Padres, and then Cronenworth got the 2-out hit. And then the Giants got the runner over, and it was like a shot at the infielder. And then I don't remember what the final out was because I just knew it was over at that point. It's so depressing. I mean, you give that stat of they've given up 2.3 runs a game over the last 16 games, and they're only 7-9. I mean, yeah, I agree. That is amazing that they're 7-9 during that time. But like, you should be 12-2 if you're giving up less than 2.5 runs a game. You know, maybe even on a 14-game winning streak at that point, or a 16-game winning streak, 16-game winning. That's ridiculous. That they can't score enough runs to help out what is apparently the best pitching staff in baseball. I mean, I wouldn't even say Kyle Harrison had a hiccup tonight. He had 1 inning that just went totally sideways on him, and the Padres were like beating out everything in the infield. That's what was beating Harrison. They had 1 double in the first, Jackson Merrill. I think it was Merrill. Yeah, Jackson Merrill, and then he had the inning fall apart, and the ball went off his arm, and now he was out of the game. It's so weird that the pitching is so locked down, and they cannot get ahead. They are losing ground, specifically in these games against the Padres. They're 0-4 against the Padres, and I feel like every game has been a frustrating. They could have won that game loss. Well, it might have been 1 blowout in San Diego, but I mean, and just every time you watch the game, you said it, factor of 2, factor of 3. When they go down a run or 2, you're just like, oh crap, that's the ball game. Tonight, first inning, 2 runs, scored, and it's like, oh crap, they're already going to lose. Thankfully they've made a game of it, but I mean, it's ridiculous to go that long without scoring 4 runs or more. Like, I didn't think a Major League Baseball offense could be that bad. I really didn't, and we're living through it. It feels like 2019 more than anything else when you watch this happen.
It's wild to think they're 7-9 in this stretch, despite having really the best stretch of pitching they've had all year. And I can back it up with the numbers. First of all, the Giants were 7 games above 500 at the beginning of this 16-game stretch, right? At that time, the Giants' team ERA was 3.48. Respectable, good in the top half of the league. You know what their team ERA is now after those 16 games? 3.04. They've reduced it almost a full half of a run in the last 16 games. That is incredible. On top of that, their runs per game that they were scoring offensively, and the Giants were no offensive juggernaut, but they were averaging 4.8 runs per game prior to this 16-game stretch. So now that they're averaging only 2, there's your factor of 2.5 right there. That's a 2.4 factor right there. So the Giants are, their team ERA is absolutely fantastic, but their hitting is just evaporated. If they could have averaged even 4 runs a game, which was below their season average coming into this streak, Yeah, I think the Giants would have lost maybe 3 or 4 games in this streak.
That's
and
what
the
I'm
Giants
saying.
would be
It's
right
ridiculous.
there with the Dodgers, and it's frustrating as hell.
But breaking news. I'm Tom Brokaw. The Giants have scored 5 runs tonight.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
The Giants have scored 6 runs tonight.
Oh, this is news. This is welcome news. I have not been. Here it is in my little tab here. Okay. Who's playing the podcast in? Are we streaming this live? Is this in the dugout? Is this getting piped in?
We are what the Giants just need. That's fantastic news.
Okay, well, thanks for that update. So they've officially broken the 16-game streak, and it's because of us. Finally, we broke the streak. Right, when
we talked about it. Right, and now that they ended it and it's old news, our podcast, everybody's gonna be like, why are they talking about this crap anymore? Well,
yeah.
Guess what? We started before that happened.
Yeah, so Ramos doubled in the tying runs. I see that there. Well, good. Now the bullpen can do its job. They have 2 more at-bats left, the Padres do, and hopefully they can lock it down. And let's talk about that for a little bit. Look, every reliever is going to have their issues and they're going to have their hiccups. It's just unfortunate during this streak, they finally have a game where it looks like the win is imminent because the bullpen has been so good that even though we've lost all confidence in the hitting coming back from any deficit, I've had supreme confidence in holding leads or not allowing deficits to grow too much. So Camilo Doval, who was just recently re-anointed as the closer, goes in and he just couldn't find the strike zone, Eric, right? And he eventually, loads the bases with 2 outs, and you just kind of, I don't know. I didn't feel it coming, but I was like, oh, he just got the closer roll back. I hope he doesn't. Oh, there it is. It was just like base hit, Manny Machado. He was 4 for 4 on the night, tied up the game. And then in the 10th, like you were saying, they moved the runner over, got him in, and the Giants couldn't do it, and they lost 3-2. In a game, normally, their bullpen would have held and they would have won. It would have felt a lot different coming into tonight, because then, you're thinking, the series is split, there's 2 games left, the Giants can still split or take 3 out of 4. But yeah, it just feels like, the snowball is just rolling right now. In a bad way, it's
unfortunate when it's really like we're talking about percentages and odds earlier, 88%, that kind of stuff. That's kind of what happened with Camilo last night. He just sometimes gets totally like scatterbrained when he has runners on base, and he doesn't do as well if he does that. And like 1 out of every 10 appearances, that's going to happen with him, it feels like. And I'm okay with that because I think his stuff is better than Walker's was. I was very happy with the move to put Doval back into the closer role. My biggest concern with the bullpen, and I think something that would have helped maybe win 1 or 2 of those games, is Randy Rodriguez has hardly been used in the last week or so. He only pitched once in Detroit during a loss, once in Miami in the 1-0 loss, and so far, and then he pitched on Monday against San Diego. Why did Randy Rodriguez disappear? Why are they not utilizing him much? That guy literally is talked about as a future type closer. I'm really not happy with Bob's handling of the bullpen lately, which makes it again even more impressive that they're doing so well. But Randy just totally disappeared. And some of these decisions Bob makes about the matchups, I don't always understand. He's trusting Spencer Bivens in more high leverage situations. He's bringing in Tyler Rogers to face a batter to end an inning and then not bringing him back the next inning. Tyler Rogers puts no wear and tear on his arm. Send him back out there. You don't need to have Spencer Bivens come out for the 8th because Tyler Rogers got the final out in the 7th. Send him back out there. So that's been my biggest gripe with Bob, I think, in general, actually. It's just the way he deploys the bullpen. I don't know if we're spoiled by Bochy, but this isn't it. I don't know why he's doing that. I don't know why Randy Rodriguez suddenly seems buried. I'm good with Doval. I actually like Walker in his new role as kind of the save guy in the middle of the game. If they need to get out of an inning, they might go to Ryan Walker at this point. So I like that bullpen. But Harrison and Birdsong being in the rotation now. Now we got Jelly in there. Eric Miller, has to get his. He's the only lefty left in the bullpen now that Harrison started. Got into the rotation. So, I don't know what Bob's doing half the time. That's really my biggest concern because they really have the best pitching staff in baseball, and I can't believe we're saying that. And I just hope Bob doesn't screw it up because they're not going to always score 2.0 runs again. Eventually they'll get back to that, 3.8, 4 number, and they'll start winning some of these games. You just hope Bob doesn't screw it up with the wrong matchups.
No, this remarkable stretch has propelled their ERA all the way to number 2 in all of baseball at 3.04. The Mets have number 1 at 2.85. The Mets also have the second best bullpen ERA, but the Giants have lapped them by a lot. The Giants' bullpen ERA is a whopping microscopic 2.44. That's 0.41 runs ahead of second place Mets. That's insane, dude. Like, that is not just edging the Mets, just edging second place. They are in a different league right now than most of the major leagues. So, and again, that's where you get frustrated because I know that the Giants bullpen will regress back to the mean. You know what I mean? I don't expect them to have a 2.44 bullpen ERA at the end of the year. I just don't see that happening. So they're going through a remarkable stretch right now, and it's just been fantastic. And it's unfortunate things are wasted, but at the same time, they would be much worse than 7-9 right now.
Yeah, and as we talked about in the last show, that 8-1 start really helped them, and that's why they're still in this thing now. Because this could have gone totally in a totally different direction.
Yeah, it really could have. They're still in the hunt, despite their recent slide here. They did win 2 out of 3 in Miami, so just losing these first 2 against their rivals in the West here, it just hurts because the Padres are whom they're competing against for the wild card spot and potentially the West if the Dodgers somehow fail, which they won't. But just saying,
right?
This is their intra division. This is what they need to do. These are the most important games, and they're letting them slip away. Both games in the 10th inning. Both games they should have won easily. Like, there should not have even been a question, and it just didn't happen. It just slipped out of their grasp. It was like really hard to give up these wins, but they found a way. So, circling back to the beginning of the podcast, everyone's like, wait, who are these new guys you just said? Well, again, if you haven't been reading, and this is the first time you've heard of this, which you're not hearing this probably till the day after the game.
Right, till Thursday morning.
The Giants got rid of the player with the 4th most popular jersey on the team right now. Looked it up. So, wow. Long time. He is a fan favorite. He was a fan favorite. People liked him. I liked him. But LaMonte Wade Jr., whom we've pointed out many times for his baseball metrics, not just his stats, but just his baseball metrics. Like if you look on Baseball Savant, he just lost it. He just lost it. I don't know what happened to the guy, but exit velocity, BABIP, luck, everything was just going awry. And I really, it's the first time I can remember in recent memory where a general manager or president of baseball operations, Buster Posey in particular now, got rid of a guy whom he played with.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's got to be so weird.
That's weird, man. LaMonte Wade was on the 2021 team, Buster's last year. So Buster played with LaMonte Wade Jr. like for a whole season. And here he is going, sorry, bud. I admit that's probably got to hurt. It's probably got to hurt Buster a lot because not that he knows what it feels like to be DFA'd, because Buster doesn't, but he definitely doesn't. But to let go of a guy that you played with and you've probably respected for the last 4 or 5 years, who's been one of your regular first basemen and kind of, I wouldn't say a cornerstone of your team, but a regular on your team. And you finally had to cut ties. It's probably hurts, but Eric, it was the right move, wasn't it?
Oh, very much so. And he might actually have to make the same decision with Mike Yastrzemski soon, but that one's got a little more runway. It was the right decision. The Giants' first basemen are batting 185, worst in baseball. They have hit 4 total home runs, and their OPS is also the worst in baseball, 603. 603. Oh, I'm sorry, third worst, 588 for the Pirates and Marlins. But like these teams that they're, matched with here, all these teams that have crappy first basemen, Pirates, Marlins, Rockies, White Sox, these are not good teams. And the Giants had the worst production at the first base position, and something had to be done. It's not just LaMonte. Casey Schmidt obviously contributes to that, but LaMonte got the majority of the playing time. And he got his fair chance, and he did. And, let's give LaMonte some credit. He did earn his nickname Late Night LaMonte, because in 2021, that year that you spoke of with him and Buster playing together, he had 6 game-tying or go-ahead hits in the 9th inning. 6. And that's the most by any player in the last 40 years. So he lived off that for quite a while. But I don't recall a guy falling off a cliff like this so suddenly. I don't think any of us expected. We thought LaMonte was a pretty solid contributor and thought he'd be good to the lineup, but he did. He absolutely fell off the cliff. So I do. I think it was the absolute right move. The move that I'm confused about is the Huff DFA. I don't know why they got rid of Huff for Kisner. Robbie Ray seems to love pitching to Huff. He's done a totally capable job as a backup catcher. He actually hits better than Bailey, I think. And he and Robbie Ray are working so well together. So, why did they get rid of Huff and go for Kisner? I don't understand that part of the move that was made today. I understand shaking things up to shake them up, but LaMonte deserved the axe. I don't think Huff did.
No, and the Robbie Ray thing actually does concern me. And Buster Posey's a catcher, so he knows way more than we do about this. So it's not like
confused.
That's why it is confusing. But you obviously, I trust that this is a point of discussion. It's not like they don't recognize that the National League Pitcher of the Month for May, Robbie Ray, which was awesome. Most of his starts he throws to Sam Huff. And that is part of the success. So you're kind of like, well, wait a minute. Why are you, you look at his splits, by the way, they are much better with Huff. Why is this happening? Why are you getting rid of the guy who is catching the best pitcher on the team right now? So there clearly must be a reason. And I know that they would consider that as part of the calculus. So I don't know. I was really perplexed by that too, especially to bring up a 31-year-old journeyman, Adam Kisner. I'm like, there's nothing that screams special or potential about him. I didn't quite understand that move at all. So that's a mystery, and maybe I don't know if there were pregame questions today. I know that Buster hasn't been publicly available yet, but I do.
Oh yeah, there were. He talked a little bit about it before the game. Yeah. He didn't really talk about that though. He was more answering questions. I saw KMBR put some stuff out, answering questions about LaMonte, was a teammate and stuff like that. And we felt we needed something, but he didn't seem to address Huff and Koss as specifically as he did Wade. Hey, weird. Okay. Everybody who got cut has a 4-letter last name. Sorry.
Wade,
weird brain.
Koss. Yeah, so and you just said Koss, he was demoted to AAA, so
not cut. He is not DFA'd.
Yeah, so they signed the free agent Dominic Smith. He refused a minor league contract with the Yankees, I believe. He's got a career 2,000 at bats, career 246 hitter, OPS plus of 97, so kind of like right at league average, 0.9 WAR over 693 games. So yeah, he's like league average. I'll
take league average. I totally will.
Yeah, no, it's better than LaMonte Wade Jr. He's below league average right now.
Exactly.
And they also selected the contracts of Dan Johnson and Andrew Kisner, we just said, from Sacramento. Dan Johnson is 36 career games, a minus 0.5 WAR. And then Andrew Kisner is 290 career games, slashing 210 with 18 home runs and 85 RBIs in those 290 games. So again, nothing that screams offensive potential, that's for sure. And he's 31 years old, so I don't think he's waiting to break out or anything like that. But
that's why it's so confusing.
Yeah, that's why it is really.
I really am. I am really confounded by that one. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand it. I'm not that I'm like some Huff aficionado or anything. It just seemed like he had a good thing with Robbie Ray going. Like, why are we getting rid of Robbie Ray's personal caddy? Like, it seemed like we've all accepted that Patrick Bailey can't hit, and he's in there for his defense. So why are we going to screw with the other guy who gives Patrick Bailey a day off? That's the part I don't understand. I can't see Kisner giving them a shot in the arm. Daniel Johnson has given them a shot in the arm tonight. He is absolutely seems like he rose to the challenge. He came through. He scored. Yeah. I think he scored 2 runs now in this game, but he's been in the thick of it a couple times. So that's a nice little boost. But it's moves to make moves, and sometimes you have to make moves. And the Giants made moves. It really seems to be what it came down to. Dominic Smith seems average. I'll take average. Like I said, I will totally take average. So. They're a better team today, apparently, than they were yesterday. So I'll go with that.
Perhaps.
Right.
We'll see.
I'm trying to believe, man.
Do you remember, obviously, when they got rid of Joey Bart? They had to at that point, but there was this little thing in the back of my mind that just kind of was like, the guy definitely had potential, but he was here for 4 or 5 years, and he kind of overstayed his welcome, and I get it. So he goes to Pittsburgh, and remember his tear? He was like 7 home runs in the first 20 games or something like that. We're like, what the hell? He's hit more home runs with the Pirates in 2 weeks than he did his whole career with the Giants, right? And everyone was like, oh, the Giants made a mistake, whatever. Just to pump the brakes a little bit. He's not bad this year, but just to give you an idea, he's hitting 240 with 1 home run and 11 RBI. So
wow,
and that's over 146 at bats. So it's not like he's had 20 at bats. So he's hit 1 home run in 146 at bats. So,
and Bailey's hit 1 home run in 152. So that's perfect, Yeah. And Bailey's probably gotten more to the pitchers than Joey Bart ever would.
Yeah, exactly. So if anyone out there is still lamenting about Joey Bart, he's got a higher batting average, but at this point, again, we take Bailey's handling of pitchers and of course his defensive prowess and throwing out runners and all that stuff, stealing strikes, all that great stuff he does. So Joey Bart is definitely not the second coming of Johnny Bench. That was not happening.
No.
But anyway, this is all translated into one of the playoff odds. The Giants have been downgraded slightly to 44.5% to make the postseason, 2% to win the World Series. I know it's a little early to talk about this. We're just barely past a third of the way through the season. And the Giants could find themselves, out of the playoff picture in 2 weeks if they keep hitting like this. Before tonight. Obviously, tonight is a different story. They have scored 6 runs, and just checking in right now, and it is still 6-5 Giants in the bottom of the 8th. So, this is a good question for you. We might still be recording. We should be. By the time it reaches the top of the 9th. Is it Camilo and back-to-back nights after a blown, or is someone else coming in?
It's Walker. I already saw it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have the TV on, so Walker's warming up?
Yeah, but I think Camilo hasn't he been in back-to-back nights too, and he was relied upon heavily in Miami. So it's not really like this to me isn't a controversy driving decision. It's just Camilo needs a break, and he'll come back the next time.
Yeah, no, I assume that's it. Let me see what was his appearances this week. Yeah, his ERA was bumped up to 1.67. Not bad.
Oh God, yeah, horrible ERA.
I know, right?
This guy sucks. Let's get him out of the closer role.
Let's see. Yeah, obviously last night's loss. Yeah, he pitched twice in Miami. Yeah,
right.
He did.
So his mom was there. That's why I remember it. So.
Yeah, and he got both saves in that series. Yep. So he does have 7 saves, and he has 3 blown saves this year. So he's 7 for 10 in save opportunities. So not the best, but hey, look, this is a game where the Giants actually came back from a 5-0 deficit. The game's not over yet, but if Ryan Walker can hold it, that's a big if. We'll see what happens. Oh man, this is crazy. All right, what else was I going to say? Yes, let's get to this. So one of the things that I was asking Eric about is, look, when you are on a winning streak or you're hitting the ball well, or if you're in a slump, all of us old baseball players have crazy superstitions. And And obviously, we've seen it through the major leagues. There's been some wild superstitions out there. And so we want to look at some of these old superstitions, maybe some of the superstitions that you and I had and maybe still have today. And maybe we can make some suggestions to the Giants because they clearly listen to our podcast. So why not pick up some of our superstitions? Maybe we'll help them break out of this slump, other than just torching the place down. So, Eric, I know you had some good stories that you wanted to share.
Well, no, I was looking back. Here's some suggestions of some player superstitions over the years, and then we can talk about our superstitions as players. But like Jason Giambi, when he would get into a funk, he would start wearing a gold thong, very similar to the Rayleigh thong, and that would get it going. And 2010 is a very good similarity. Like you mentioned the playoff odds, and 2010 is what I thought of him. Like I bet those were our odds in 2010 as well. But there's Moises
Huff with the thong. Yep.
Right. So you could try that again. Moises Alou. I mean, this is not one that I recommend, but he used to pee on his hands. He felt it prevented calluses and made him a better hitter. Or they could do the Wade Boggs fried chicken thing. You know how Wade Boggs would eat fried chicken before every single game. Richie Ashburn slept with his bat once upon a time. He thought that would do it. Lenny Dykstra would get new batting gloves every time he made it out.
Yeah,
I think somebody could utilize that one. I really do. Here's my favorite that I came across. Steve Finley. Steve Finley used to keep a pouch of minerals in his pocket given to him by Craig Counsell to ward off the evil spirits and make him a better hitter. So now we know what to thank for that Steve Finley grand slam is those minerals given to him by Craig Counsell. And Joe DiMaggio, if you want to be like the great Joe, just touch second base on your way out to your position. Every single time he ran out to center field, he touched second base. And this was my favorite one, and I think any Giants hitter can apply this one. Ken Griffey Jr. once sold a Mercedes because he claimed, quote, it had no hits in it. So, if any of these guys want to sell their car to get out of the slump, I'm all for it. I'm sure we can connect you with a Bay Area car dealership or somebody who wants to buy privately. So maybe if one of these guys wants to sell their car, that could get them going. But those were just some of the fun ones that I found when I was looking around the internet at old superstitions. Like I love the Wade Boggs fried chicken one. That's been a well-known one for a long time. I didn't know that was a new one to me.
Yeah, that was a new one to me too. I found a few others too. Wade Boggs again. Apparently, night games he wanted to take batting practice at 5:17 p.m. on the dot every night. He also would take 150 grounders, no more, no less, during warm-ups. One of the old guys from the Indians, I remember growing up, Kevin Romberg, whenever he was tagged out on the base paths, he would turn around and touch the person that tagged him. That's
funny.
I don't remember actually seeing that. But I love that. I do remember Turk Wendell. And he would,
oh my God.
Excuse me. Yeah, he would eat licorice and then spit it out and then brush teeth in between innings and then grab new licorice and then go back out on the mound. And I'm just thinking, first of all, I hate licorice, black licorice, that is.
Amen.
And oh my God, right? But he would be chewing licorice on the mound and then brushing his teeth in between. That's just a horrible combination. Like that would just, Some people are the weirdest, man. But, this is baseball players are probably the most finicky. I mean, growing up, I know that I'm a scientist now. I don't believe in superstitions, and yet I still do it today. From watching Giants baseball is number one. I do the weirdest crap. It's either a position on the couch I need to sit in. It's the way I pace. Or something else. It's weird behaviors I do, and it changes all the time. But I always feel like if I'm over here, I will have control of the game. And of course, the images on the TV or the content coming out of the radio is delayed by 10, 15 seconds. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like the action's already happened before I'm doing the thing that I want to do before the at-bat where I want to see success. It's the funniest thing, but we're all creatures of habit. We all think we can control the universe, just like this podcast can control the personnel management of the San Francisco Giants. But when I was a kid growing up, playing baseball, man, for me, the biggest thing was socks or stirrups. and if I was on a hitting streak, I would just keep the socks and no stirrups. This is in the 80s when stirrups were a big deal, right? And people thought I looked so weird without wearing stirrups. Now, of course, socks are all the rage, or you just wear the pants all the way down to the ankles. Obviously, rallies, we'd all do the rally caps, kind of all the basic stuff like that. I didn't really have any pregame meal rituals, just never anything that would give me an upset stomach. I always ate light, but that was more because the nerves I would have before a baseball game. I never wanted a big meal or anything like that. But what kind of stuff did you do when you were playing ball? Or even did you have weird things when you were umpiring? And what do you do today watching the Giants or the Bears or anything?
Interesting. The Bears, I stand. I think a lot of men our age range kind of stand and watch the game.
I stand all the
scream at the television. It's just you got to pace around and do those kinds of things. I'll go back to childhood. I was a big stirrups guy. I also love stirrups. Cereal was the meal of choice for me before I went to play a game. I always had a bowl of cereal. It just seemed like the quickest, easiest thing that set me on the right pace to have enough energy for the game that I needed, because it's not too heavy, it's not too light. It kind of just it fits that like exact mode. But when I was in high school, I mean, you can't have cereal before a baseball game. It's tough to have cereal. Sorry, I got distracted by Daniel Johnson saving the game again. I couldn't have cereal, so then it was orange Fantas. I had to have an orange Fanta before every game. I don't know why. That was the deal. That was totally the drink of choice. But as an adult, the 2012 World Series or 2012 run is the only time I remember having a superstition. I had some of my dad's button-down shirts, and he had recently passed earlier in that year. And for every game during that playoff run, I wore one of the exact same shirt, over. And the only time I wore it, and I wore it over a specific Giants shirt, and the only time I wore it was during the game. You know what I mean? And then I used one of his, right? So I actually, kind of kept that superstition into baseball writing in a sense. As an umpire, I didn't really have any at all, and now I don't have any right now. Oh my God! Oh, sorry, Ramos and Adames almost just killed each other.
Yeah, that wasn't good, was it? Was it a flare?
Did you see it?
Base hit? Yeah.
Yeah, and Ramos was going out. I mean, Adames was going out. Ramos was coming in off the bat of Machado, and Ramos should have just called him off. So now the Giants are in jeopardy. 2 on, 1 out for the Padres against Ryan Walker, with Randy Rodriguez warming in the bullpen. Yeah, but nowadays, I don't really have any superstitions nowadays. I watch every game, so, I realize I don't have the power, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, so right. I kind of just, but I mean, I'm not superstitious in general. That's why, like, the guys who had these superstitions in baseball, they're fun. Like, you remember Bull Durham? You don't screw with a guy on a streak. Some guy might wear the same underwear every day. The Nuke Lulus tried to wear the garter belt to break out of the pitching slump.
Right.
And told him to.
Yeah, it's like the gold on. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. That's I love Randy Rodriguez coming in. That's I love that kind of stuff, and I appreciate when guys do that because it has personality. Like Kirk Lindell, the guy, he wasn't the greatest pitcher, but he had personality, and we remember him because of his quirks. He used to leap high over the third baseline as well when he ran to and from the dugout. He was a Cub when he came up, so I saw his. I definitely saw his early days.
Isn't that a strange thing that I'd say not all, but 99.9% of baseball players do.
You're right.
We respect the foul lines, right?
Yeah, you're right.
We respect the foul lines. Even the most dirty, nasty, disrespectful players I ever played with would never step on a foul line. They do everything else. They wouldn't step on the foul. That was like one of the most sanctimonious things that you could do as a baseball player is, you're running out to the field and you hop over that foul line. You never want to, if you're running down the line during the play, though, you're fielding the ball, you're running all over that thing. You're sliding on it, you're doing everything. But if you're just going on and off the field, oh, no, I can't touch it. I gotta jump over.
So you're so right. Baseball players are all superstitious in that way. Are there any other things that every ball player does? Well, I used to have one thing when I was in the outfield. You remember how Barry used to tap his leg before he caught a fly ball with his glove? I did
With
the same
glove.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I adopted
okay.
the exact same thing. But my father so much as told me that the final out of a championship game one year was a deep fly ball to me right in front of the wall. He's like, the moment I saw you tap your leg, I knew the game was over. And I was like, that's such a cool feeling, you know? Like to
Yeah.
know that I adopted that. It was just a little quirk that I totally adopted, a little superstition of his that I made mine. If you're going to take a superstition from somebody, Barry Bonds is a pretty good guy.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd say, not superstitions, but I think just baseball players in general, you get up to the plate, you're always swinging the bat a little bit, you take a couple of practice swings, kind of all those general things that we do as baseball players to try and get your rhythm down. If a pitcher takes too long looking in for a sign, you step out of the box because it disrupts your rhythm, all those little things. But I think most baseball players are kind of attuned to that, and not because of superstitious reasons. It just throws off your timing.
Routine is just superstition.
Yeah, it's routine.
Right?
Yeah.
Routine for any baseball player is just total superstition. I need to be in my flow, to do my thing, to, be at the place I need to be to perform the best. I think that is the most overriding factor with baseball players. They just want routine.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And so superstitions become a part of that, that's just how it happens, Some guy gets a hit. I read another superstition. I don't remember who it was, but some guy was in a slump and wanted to get 5 hits, so he lit 5 candles and took a bath, and he went 5 for 5 the next day. Like, that's just kind of dumb luck, He psyched himself into that, but, to him it worked.
Uh-oh. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, no, we're still an out away from a win here for the Giants. They scored 6 runs tonight, so they finally broke out of that funk. I mean, this doesn't mean that the offense is fixed by any means. Oh, pop up on the infield.
Yeah, but what was interesting about it, I just saw that. I didn't want to say anything to you because you hadn't seen it yet. What was really interesting, though, is this is getting pumped into the Giants dugout. I'm sorry. You just said, why isn't Randy Rodriguez being used? And here we go. We get Ryan Walker, who starts the inning. He can't do it, right? He gets 1 out, allows 2 singles. Well, I know one was a bloop. I get it. It wasn't exactly hit hard. And then, Bob Melvin goes, I've seen enough of this shit. I'm sorry. Let's give Randy a crack, right? And he comes in and he gets 2 outs. Boom, boom. And in between there was a double steal, which made it a little bit more dicey because a single could give him a lead. But he just goes, boom, boom, game over. So it's like, thank you, Randy.
Right, I'm just gonna say, Buster, Boobala, if you're listening to me this much, just give me a call, man. My phone's open, my email's open. You can find me on Twitter, anywhere. Buster, I'm ready for the call.
Oh my God! Wow, with his microscopic ERA down to a 0.66, that's his first save on the year. And look, Camilo has not lost the job. We understand this, but I don't know. At this point, maybe we're thinking about putting Randy up on the list higher than Ryan Walker at this point. For some of these high leverage late game situations. But
if Duvall's not available to close, Rodriguez should close, and Walker should stay in his Mr. Fix-It situation. I think that's what they learned tonight.
I agree. I think maybe the 9th just, maybe Walker just can't handle it anymore. I don't know. It's a weird psychological trip. We've always talked about it. But hey, look, the Giants won it. During our broadcast, they went from 5-0 to 5-3 to winning 6-5. So they broke a little bit of the slump, got some of the monkey off their back, and they're back in the win column. They can gain a split tomorrow. It's a afternoon businessman special to close out the 4-game series. After that, they got the Atlanta Braves coming in, and obviously they have Ronald Acuna back, so they're not going to take the Braves lightly. After that, they go on the road. They're going to have 3 in Colorado. And by the way, Colorado, I think, just swept the Fish. So I think they just increased their win total by 33% in 3 days.
It's true, though. They went from 9 to 12. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's so stupid, right? And then they finally face the Dodgers on the road, Chavez Ravine next week. But we should be back by next Wednesday, kind of in the middle of the Colorado series, to talk about the last game against the Padres and the Braves and getting into Colorado. But that feels better, though, at least, Eric. But, the Giants should have had the first 3 games of this series. Okay, fine. Chalk tonight up to a loss. It should be 2-1 right now for the Giants. Whatever. Anyway. we digress. This is the way it goes. So now the Giants are going to be 6 games above 500. So again, floating around that 500 mark right after their epic streak. How did the Dodgers do today? Did they play yet today? I have not paid attention to that.
I'm not sure. No, I think they're playing now because I saw their lineups come out the same time our lineups came out. So, it's a similar start time.
So right now the Dodgers are down 3-0 to the Mets in the middle of the 7th. So the Dodgers have 3 more at-bats left. If that holds, the Giants will be 3 games back of the Dodgers. So, look, they're hanging around. They're not totally out of the West yet. They're a half game back of the Cardinals, who did not play today. So that's for the final wild card spot. The Brewers now are virtually tied with the Giants, though, right behind in that wild card spot, and then Diamondbacks are 3 games behind them. So, yeah, everything's tightening up in the wild card race. Got a long way to go, but at least the Giants are still in position to do something. So that's a good thing. So hopefully, maybe this little shakeup, maybe, seeing Wade go, it's kind of like you're in the classroom and you see, some of your friends getting, detention, and you're like, oh shit, I better shape up here, right?
That's what it's supposed to be, isn't it? That's the whole making moves to make moves, is to tell everybody you're not, safe. I mean, obviously some guys are safe, Chapman, Adames, Bailey, the whole entire pitching staff, but, Ramos, but Lee, but other guys need to start stepping up and doing their thing. So I appreciate that they shook it up, and they came back from 5-0 down in the exact same night. So overall, it turns into kind of a positive ending to this day and this little stretch for the Giants. Now, hopefully, they can score more than 4 runs another game.
That matches their largest comeback of the year, which is the game that Willie and I attended against the Reds. They were down 5-0, and they came back and won. Yep. Yeah, so that's great. That shows a little fight in the Giants. They make that major shakeup, and they respond tonight. They come back when it looked like, look, I'm the first one to admit, when it was 5-0, I was like, well, okay. That's another loss, because they hadn't scored more than 4 in 16 games. So it was looking pretty bleak there. But thank you, Giants, for proving me wrong. We do appreciate it. You can check everything out, of course, that we put out on torchcast.com. You can email us if you have any questions, segments, whatever. Follow us individually at ChadK21 and at 2outhits with the number 2 for Eric. And then we're very active posting everything on Facebook.com/torchcast. Look us up, like us there, follow us around, do what you can. Eric, I don't think you have anything much going on right now, but if you did,
nope.
Is there anything?
Nah, Giants chatter on Facebook if you want to go there, but we don't really post anymore. So just nope. And share, subscribe.
Quiet, huh?
Yeah, it really is. We posted stuff on like the big news today happens, but we used to have game threads and stuff, and we just don't have the time to keep up anymore. So there's no real reason to push it, So share, and subscribe this podcast for all your buddies and all your Giants fan friends. I'll say that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if we ever did actually want to get our Patreon out there, God damn it, I have some good late night content from Eric that he sent me. Oh my God, people should pay for this. It is just epic rants that I now listen to, and they are just so fantastic. But I cannot put it out for non-paid public consumption.
Nope. Some nights you just get frustrated that the Giants can't hit. All right, we'll just leave it at that.
It was so awesome. Anyway,
we'd have to change names to protect the innocent. Oh.
Yeah. Maybe when we finally go off the air, we can publish that stuff. However many years from now.
I'm an epic ranter too, so to know that those were. I appreciate that. That is a compliment, Chad. I definitely was not happy the other night. Ugh.
Yeah, well, when you get rants at 2:30 in the morning, but you don't read it till you're at work the next day, it was fantastic.
There may have been some liquid encouragement in those thoughts. I mean, it happens from time to time.
It happens from time to time. I get it. Hey, believe me, back in the day, we had many of an inebriated podcasts, which we don't do anymore, but we had in the past, and so... Yep. I always thought about going back and listening to how bad some of those were, especially the bonus-sodes and others that we got a little tanked on after games, but I'm too old for that crap now. Can't do that anymore.
Amen, Danny Glover. Amen.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed episode 315. We'll be back a week from tonight, next Wednesday, for episode 316. Until then, go Giants. Ha-boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.